no. Come on, where is it?
Dave, it's your Idaho Central app here. Any chance you're missing a debit card? Let's get that taken care of for you. With ICCU's card control, you can turn any card off with the tap of your finger.
You got it.
And back on again. Out, 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 out. The closest Idaho Central Credit Union branch is in your pocket.
It's the fall kickoff sale at Lithia Ford of Boise. We're going all the way so you can score more for your trade-in and trade up to a new Ford truck or SUV today. Visit Lithia Ford of Boise, where Ford begins in Idaho.
This is Bronco Nation News Live. The best interviews, the most informed opinions, the latest breaking news, all from the top Boise State insiders. Bronco Nation News Live from BroncoNationNews.com is presented by RowPaint.com, the official paint and coatings company of Boise State Athletics. All Bronco Nation news broadcasts come from the Western Collective Studios. Head down to Western Collective's locations in Garden City or downtown Boise to try some of their delicious beers, including the Horseshoe Golden Ale, the first beer to support an NIL collective. Now, here's four-time NSMA Idaho Sports Writer of the Year, BJ Rains, with another edition of Bronco Nation News Live.
Hey, how we doing, Boise State fans? A happy Wednesday to you. You know what that means. Our man Brad Bedell joins us for his insight and wittiness and good looks and everything else. We're happy to have
That's right.
Brad Bedell with us on a Wednesday edition of Bronco Nation News Live, former offensive line coach at Boise State, and now you're dabbling into the media world. But I know you got some big news on the job front as well. But Brad, appreciate you as always on a Wednesday. How we doing?
Absolutely, I'm doing great. Coming off of a bye and got the Portland State team coming to town.
Cannot wait to get your breakdown of Portland State's advanced scouting report here. I know you spent hours working on that for us, Brad.
I did. I mean, especially they're coming off of a bye I don't understand that people still get the whooping cough these days, but you know, it happens. But yeah, no, excited that, and then excited that I got the opportunity to meet with a company called Game One. It's the brand behind the brand, which is cool. It's we're a retail store for Nike, Adidas, Under Armour, work with the local high schools with uniforms, equipment, corporations with apparel. And this is exactly what I was looking for. I get to still be a part of the Treasure Valley and still get to around the great coaches here in the Treasure Valley and just stay connected. And that's exactly what I wanted in the culture of this company. And so my family and I sat down, and just a great opportunity to work with a great company. So I'm excited to start with Game One. And they also are very enthusiastic that I stay with you on Wednesdays and get to do the pregame and the postgame. And because that's something I'm really enjoying, because it keeps me in the realm of college football. And so I get to work with high school coaches. And I don't think there's anything better than high school coaches. My brother's a high school head coach. I'm working with East junior high. So, sometimes it's like herding cats, but it's a lot of fun. And it's just, I'm excited to stay connected within this community.
Are the fans as ruthless and brutal to you coaching junior high as they are coaching Boise State?
No, it's they're no. Well, no, but that's okay. No, because it's like you're limited, right? I mean, it's like it's you got some young men at East that shouldn't be offensive linemen that have to play offensive line. And well, this is an important thing that I think a lot of people should understand. I think it's so important when you can get down to that junior high school level in the 7th grade and 8th grade. Winning is important. I totally understand that. But if you could teach the proper way of playing football with techniques, understanding of the game, and things like that, it's going to make those players better once they get to high school. And if you can get them younger, like I didn't play tackle football in 7th grade. The first time I ever started playing tackle football was my freshman year of high school. And the reason for that is when I was 12, I would have had to play with 16-year-olds because I was 6'5" when I was a sophomore in high school. And so it's not, if you could teach the fundamentals of the game, the proper way of tackling, the safe way of doing things, I really think that just helps once they get to high school and things like that. And I would also say this. It's amazing the level of talent that is starting to come up through this city in playing, north and hillside and, west, east. They've got some really young, good athletes that are coming up that it's exciting. And it's exciting for me because now, moving back here now, it's starting to ingrain in this community. I get to follow these kids if they're going to Boise High School, if they're going to Timberline, if they're going to Capitol, if they're going to Owyhee, if they're going to Nampa, things like that. It's fun. And there's a lot of talent coming through this place. And it's exciting to see the future of the city of Boise's high school football.
Well, speaking of exciting, Brad, we got 3. I started this yesterday kind of just for fun. I think you and Rid are really going to enjoy it on the post-game show, getting some, drunk fans leaving voicemails and stuff with some comments on the game. We'll see how it goes. Our man Jaden Finch is going to screen the voicemails before we put them through onto the call, which I think is better than just taking live calls at midnight after a game. But we did kind of to test it out, want to take a few during the during the weekly shows here as well.
Sure.
We're working out the technology, which is why we were a few minutes late starting today. I apologize to folks for that. We're about 5 minutes late starting. We can't figure out how Brad can hear the voicemails. So we do have 3 voicemails. We'll get to those here in a minute. If you want to get one in, the website is speakpipe.com/BNN, speakpipe.com/BNN. You can leave us a voicemail. We don't need a 5-minute voicemail. Just, 45 seconds, a minute, hit the hole, hit the A gap, whatever. Just get going and give us what you got. And then we'll try to play all of them if we can, at some point on the show. We have 3 in today already. Your man Nate Staley in Austin, Texas has one for you, Brad. Ben Welch, and then Robbie Robinson as well. So the only thing I can think of, Brad, and it's going to be on about a 5-second delay, is if you have your phone, we might be able to have you pull up the show on YouTube on your phone and listen that way potentially, or I can just tell you what it was. Maybe while we're talking, you can see if you can figure out how to pull up BNN on YouTube on your phone. If not, it's not a big deal. But if you do have a voicemail, Sky says the voicemail thing has been pretty fun. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. The main goal is for the post-game show, just to try to get some thoughts and comments on the post-game show after games. But again, we are in the Western Collective Studios. We are here in, getting ready for Saturday's game. But again, home games will be at the James, and we're pumped to announce, 5 o'clock we'll have our pregame show, and Brad and Coach Riddle will be a part of that. 5 o'clock, if you're hanging out looking for a tailgating spot or want to come down, we'll be out on the patio at the James Kitchen and Bar right across the street from Albertson Stadium. I know Jackson's is going to have a big tailgate thing there on the corner. You can check out that. You can come over and see us. 5 o'clock for the pregame show. We'll be live at the James Kitchen and Bar. You can come over if you have a question. We'll throw you on the air. You can ask that. We'll have some former players, coaches stopping by. So going to have a lot of fun with that. And then I truly am nervous, but also excited, Brad. But I am a little nervous. The post-game show is going to be very interesting. Could go off the rails here. We are going to have Brad Bedell and Kent Riddle together hosting the post-game show. I will join late after I've done the interviews, but in an attempt to start it faster and in an attempt to not be on the air till 3 a.m, Coach Ridd is going to make his hosting debut and host the post-game show with Brad, and they'll give you their thoughts and comments, and then I'll join in at some point. But if you want to see, maybe S hit the fan or just stuff go off the rails, tune on in on the post-game show with Brad and Kent Riddle after the game. We are looking forward to that. Do you think you got it on there, Brad, or no?
No.
Okay, don't worry about it. I'll just play the voicemails, and I'll tell you what they said for today. We do have, I guess, generally before I get to the voicemails, Portland State on Saturday, they had the weird cancellation due, as you mentioned, to the pertussis, the whooping cough. They say they're going to have enough guys to play. They're going to be fine. But if you're Boise State and all of a sudden the team you thought, you're going to have another game to watch on Saturday doesn't happen. By the way, Bill says Brad and Ridd on the post game. Oh boy, FCC violations coming. You're going to keep it under wraps a little bit. And I should say this, though.
Absolutely.
There are no rules on YouTube, Brad. You're free to say what you want and do what you want.
Well, that was happening with Bree last year. And you're worried about this one. Look at the next 3 games. You got Washington State kicking off. That's an 8 p.m. game. So we might as well just get used to it. And
yep,
you gotta. We'll contain ourselves.
Yeah, no, it's going to be, it'll be fun. You guys will do a great job, and I'll join you about halfway through the show after I get my interviews done with Coach D and some of the players. But Portland State, how does them not having a game suddenly this last week impact things for Boise State, if at all? And just your thoughts on the home game for Boise State, that they are literally the last team. Every single FBS team in college football has had a home game already, except for Boise State. So finally getting back out there on the blue on Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, that's just scheduling and the way this happens this time of year, or really with the change of conferences. You had the Apple Cup last week. You had the border with Oregon State last week. It's just kind of the times we're living in right now, and scheduling. It's like you got to give and take, right? You haven't had a home game yet, but you got 3 in a row, I do believe. So it's not great at the start of the year, but great once you're getting into this thing. And then a Portland State team coming in, it's, you would have thought they were supposed to play South Dakota. So now they do have an extra week. Their coaches have an extra week of game planning and things like that. And they got to manage distractions, right? I mean, that's the national media right now, is a game got canceled by an illness. We're taught this hasn't happened since the pandemic. So it is what it is. A team that there is one common opponent in Washington State. Washington State won that game 70-30. Do you get a whole lot of that? I don't know. Washington State's more of an up-tempo spread type offense. They do play a little bit of 12. So formationally, you're going to get a lot out of that game. We played Portland State. God, I can't remember what year it was. Maybe 18 or 19. But new staff, they're going to come in and compete. I mean, they're coming in on the blue. I think Spencer's press conference Monday, I believe it was. How great was that? You're looking at 200 tickets out at that time. Who knows what it is now? It'll be a sellout. But it also shows the excitement with this football program and this team that you're going to come in and sell out Portland State, first home game. Portland State's got to also worry they are the first home game. You never want to be the first home game, ever, in my opinion. Just because, they're itching to get home. And 2,
the fans are itching for a game. You're going to have a big atmosphere.
So they're going to be loud.
Yeah.
And the other thing is you want to blow people out. You want to blow them out. It is what it is. And
if it's a second home game, maybe it's not as big of a deal. It's Portland State, kind of a letdown, whatever. But when it's the home opener that fans have been waiting for a home game for 9 months or whatever it's been, I mean, that, like you said, that's all you need to know. A sellout for Portland State may not have been a sellout if it were the second or third home game. The home opener, they got the new sound system in there, the new light system they'll be using with the night game. I mean, it's going to be rocking for a FCS game.
Everything. And the other thing is they've worked so hard to upgrade that lighting system and things like that. Is why don't you want a night game? You paid the money. Yeah. I take every night game I can. When you're kicking it off at 11, that light show ain't much.
No.
Hard to see.
All right, we got a couple. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, so I think I would expect Boise to come in, be excited to play, dominate the game, and then move on.
All right. Again, I don't think Brad's going to be able to hear this, so it's about 45 seconds. Our first voicemail of the day. We do have a sponsor for this incoming, but Brad, I will play this for the folks and then relay to you what was said. Apologize. We're still working on the technology issues here, but this is our first voicemail of the day. You can leave a voicemail again at speakpipe.com/BNN, speakpipe.com/BNN. New kind of fun feature we're trying here. In addition to the comments. And here's Robbie Robinson with his thoughts.
Hey, BJ. Hey, Brad. I was curious what you thought about an idea as far as avoiding quarterback controversy. What if they had Madsen start the first half and then had Nelson get some playing time in the third quarter and have Cutforth or Fulton take over for the fourth quarter? That'd make it pretty clear that, it's a playing time thing and experience thing rather than a QB battle thing. And then just for fun question.
All right, I'll pause it there. First part of the question was, and you didn't hear that, right, Brad? He said with the QB battle going on, to avoid any kind of controversy and to avoid any kind of thing against Portland State, you have a predetermined plan, or at least secretly they have a plan where you give Madsen the first half, you give Nelson the third quarter, but then you give Cutforth or Fulton the fourth quarter. So it's 100% obvious that it's a we're up big type thing and not we're trying to play Nelson to see if he's actually deserving of more playing time.
No, I think he came in as a starter. He plays the first half, right? And then you got to see the score. I mean, if the score, let's say Boise's up by 3, you got to play your starters. You got to – something would happen in the first half that did not go planned. So it could be turnovers, could be whatever, right? So something happened in that first half that you got to make a lot of adjustments. And then you got to take it from there, and you got to roll that team back out and score. Once you get up, then they put in the plan. I don't think there's a plan to go deep into the well at quarterback. I would say that if they're up, which we talked about last week, right? They want to see Malachi take snaps, see what happens.
But we did.
But I mean, it's not like I think that voicemail is he's thinking as true preseason game. Right? Like, okay, you're going to play this amount of plays. You're going to play this amount of plays. It's not a preseason game. It's in season. This is counting towards playoffs and bowl games. It still counts, right? You get one for everybody, and I'll go back for everybody. You could play one FCS opponent that counts to your bowl record. If you play 2, only 1 counts. Mm-hmm. So you don't want – that's why a lot of teams don't play multiple FCS teams. So it still counts. But I don't think you come in like that definitive of a plan. I think the plan is, okay, if we're blowing them out, we got to get guys in, and then the plan kicks in.
The bigger point is – go ahead.
I want to play Malachi as much as I can and then get the snaps. And then hopefully I would even push the tempo and get into some type of clutch scenario so he can run that, right? And so now you're working on all aspects of situational football. Hopefully you hit a third down. Hopefully you hit a red zone, and hopefully you can get a clutch situation.
I think some of the thought is that, and tell me as a coaching staff, I mean, I don't remember if that when you were here in terms of the QB battles and the waiting for the next guy to come in and all this, but some people say that maybe the coaching staff wants, and maybe I'm included in this too, avoid the outside noise, avoid an unnecessary distraction. Like if they're pretty confident that Maddox Madsen is still way ahead of Malachi Nelson, and they expect Maddox Madsen, no matter what happens in this game, good to like if there's nothing in the second half that Malachi Nelson could come in and do that would put him in contention for the starting spot, like why even let him play and all of a sudden let fans and let media and let everybody else start going, oh, he was 10 for 12. We got a QB controversy now. Who starts against Washington State? Like, is there any extra? I know you want to have him ready if he gets hurt, if Madsen were to get hurt or something, but if you're sure that your guy is Madsen, is there any talk amongst the coaching staff, like, let's not open this potential can of worms here by playing him, and if he were to do well?
No, because you'll lose sleep at night when you're up big and you still have your starting quarterback in the game and he gets hurt. Imagine that, right? We're talking about, like, okay, do we not want to start a controversy? They don't care about controversy. I mean, who gives a shit, right? But what you don't want is you don't want to be up by 30 late in the third quarter, and your starting quarterback gets hurt. Because now everybody's like, why didn't you play him? That's stupid. I mean, why is he even in the game? He shouldn't even be in the game. He shouldn't have gotten injured, right? So you want to protect from injury when you're up. And if they're still in, that means, you know what? We're not happy with what's happened. We're still up by this amount, but we don't think we played very well.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're gone. It's like this. We're talking about a quarterback. Let's flip the script. What would happen if Genty takes a carry and it's his 27th carry in the fourth quarter and the score is 48-3
or something, yeah.
And he takes a carry and God forbid something happens. He shouldn't have been in the game. So, you don't want to risk injury for something like that. And there's a balance, right? No injury and let other guys get some work that are going to be needed as the season goes on. Injuries happen. So they've gotten live snaps and things like that. So I don't care about a controversy. I mean, we could talk about it. They can write whatever you want to write. I don't care. This is our plan. This is what we're doing, and we'll move on.
Shane says, controversies in the mind of the fans and media. I trust the coaches. Let's hear the second part of Robbie Robinson's voicemail.
If you're Khalil Shakir and you're watching this game, because you know he will be, do you think you'd want your brother to win, or do you think you'd let the sibling rivalry win out and you'd want Boise State to whoop them?
Thank you, Robbie Robinson, for the voicemail there. Brad, Khalil Shakir, his brother plays for Portland State. He is a defensive back. And there's the question from Robbie said, just kind of a fun one, but if you're Khalil Shakir, are you rooting for your brother to come in and play well and get the win on the blue, or are you rooting for Boise State to win this one?
Blood's thicker than water. You hope that your brother plays well, but you got to root for your family. And then if Portland State loses, it's like, hey, you played really well, but you're kind of in the back of your mind like, hey, the alma mater got it. Right. So I would really hope to think that his brother he's rooting for his brother. But it's like, I would also, if it was my brother, I'd call and go, you're not going to win, so you better play well. Like if I ever played my brother, I've always talked to my brothers about this. If I ever got to play them, I'd like to beat them 150-0.
Yeah.
You know how cool that would be when you're at Thanksgiving or Christmas and said, hey, pass the ham? You guys got the shit kicked out of you. It's like fighting his brothers, right? I've been in plenty of fist fights with my brothers, and they used to whoop me and all that stuff. But when I got bigger and stronger than they are, and all of a sudden we started fighting, it ended it, right? And now I'd be like, hey, you guys don't want any smoke. You don't want a piece of this. And so I always thought it'd be
if he's not playing against them, though. It's a little different. It's his alma mater, but Khalil's obviously in the NFL now. Does that change it at all? He probably wants to see his brother come in and have a pick six or something, but Boise State still win 52-7.
Yes, I would hope so.
Yeah. Hey, we got a couple more voicemails we'll get to here in just a second, but first, want to remind folks they're going to have the Horseshoe Golden Ale and now the Orange Chaos Seltzer. So you have a beer option and a seltzer option from Western Collective available inside Albertson Stadium on Saturday for the game. And remember, a portion of each sale goes to benefit the Horseshoe Collective, raising money for student athletes at Boise State. So whether it's the Horseshoe Golden Ale or the new Orange Chaos Seltzer, whatever your preference is, make sure you check out Western Collective's products on game day there inside Albertson Stadium. They also sell the Western Collective Horseshoe Golden Ale at the James Kitchen and Bar, so you can come by and have a couple Horseshoe Golden Ales during the pregame show. Maybe you can have a chugging contest with Brad Bedell live on the show. I don't know if we can pull that off or not, but
another L.
For you or them?
Yeah.
Okay. So check out Western Collective and all of their fine products. We appreciate them. Our studio sponsor here at BNN. Rowpaint.com, our title sponsor. All your painting needs. If you're looking for that concrete coating, you're looking for that, residential tune-up, touch up there in your house, some painting, exterior, interior, the siding. Let them know all your painting needs. They're the official paint and coatings company of Boise State Athletics. And again, our title sponsor. There would be no BNN without Rowpaint.com. So Andy Rowe and company, a huge BSU fan, return the favor. And again, reach out to the pros at Rowpaint.com for all your painting needs. Tomorrow night, 8 o'clock tomorrow night, the Tyson Degenhart Show is back. Idaho Central Credit Union, ICCU.com. Jeff Goodman, national college basketball reporter, is going to be the guest. We're turning the tables a little bit. Tyson will be interviewing him. It's going to be a fun show. Again, ICCU.com. There's a branch on pretty much every corner. So check them out. Idaho Central Credit Union, ICCU.com. Shout out Matt Bauscher Real Estate, number one ranked realtor in the Treasure Valley. We bought and sold our home using Matt and Cade, Kelly, Sarah, the whole team. It was a phenomenal process. We really enjoyed it. And I know Matt's a sponsor, but I do highly recommend Bauscher Real Estate. So check them out online, BauscherRealEstate.com. No home's too big, too small, doesn't matter. They can help you every step of the way, and it's just so personalized, and I highly recommend it. Again, check them out, BauscherRealEstate.com. If you're looking for a local hometown grocer, check out Ridley's Family Markets, shopridleys.com. Again, 13 locations across the state of Idaho, the surrounding states and areas as well. So Treasure Valley, Magic Valley. I love the McCall location. So check them out online and download that Skip app. Get savings up to 40% off at the checkout line. As the weather starts to cool here, perfect time to think about that spa for the back patio. Snake River Pool and Spa Patio and Game has you covered. The Rains family is loving our Snake River Pool and Spa, or spa from Snake River Pool and Spa. And again, if you're also looking for maybe a sauna, maybe a pool table for the game room, they got it all. Check them out for their full inventory at thespateam.com. And again, they've been around since 1978. They're part of the Boise State home team. Locations in Twin Falls, Boise, Meridian, Nampa. Check them out online at thespateam.com. All right, Brad, we got, another couple of voicemails coming in here, and I wish you could hear them because I think this one was kind of being a joke with Nate Staley about the beer that either you owe him or he owes you. But let's get to Nate Staley's voicemail here. Again, you can leave a voicemail at, what was the website again? Speakpipe.com/BNN. Speakpipe.com/BNN. Here's our man, Nate Staley.
Hey, BJ, Nate Staley here. I'm really excited that we have a game going, but I am hoping that we got some guys healthy. This weekend will be another good litmus test for our Broncos. I know that we shouldn't be comparing matchups through transitive property, but Wazoo did put up 70 points on this Portland State team. I really don't think that we need to put a 70 piece on these guys, but I'd like to see us in the high 50 range and keep them under 2 touchdowns. BJ, what are your thoughts on both Washington State and BSU being ranked going into next weekend's showdown? Also, Brad, stop splitting tens, and I'm coming for that beer you owe me. Go Broncos.
Okay.
Hey, BJ, Nate Staley here. I'm really excited that we have a game going on this weekend. Bye weeks really do stink, but
sorry. He had a great comment, and then at the end he said, "Brad, stop splitting tens," and then he made a comment about the beer. He's ready for the beer that you owe him.
We have to figure out when he's coming to town.
A little shot there on the way out. But he wants to know. He says, transitive property is not always work, but you mentioned 70 points that Washington State scored on Portland State. How many points is Boise? He wants Boise State to be in the 50s at least in this game, but he says, where do they need to be in terms of playing, and then where you're feeling good about playing Washington State next week. And then he mentioned, what about the possibility of both teams being ranked, Washington State and Boise State? They're both right on the cusp there, heading into the matchup next week.
Right. I mean, point value, you'd like to get over 50. I would agree with him 100%. I would actually reverse that. I don't want to see. I would not like to see Boise State's defense give up 30 points. That's where Washington State came in. I don't know what Portland State rushed for in that game, but I'd like to see that. I'd like to see the end of explosive plays versus that team. I think 50, and I think I'd like to see the defense cut down to 10, something like that. The beer's on me. That's number one. And number two, why don't you have a little fun in your life and split tens? But I honestly think the common opponent is you compare scores, right? And things like that. And the other thing is, how do you feel good about going to Washington State? You have a solid performance. You're real happy with the way your guys played versus Portland State. And then you kind of move on. It's apples to oranges in that point, right? You got a common conference opponent here coming in a couple of years in the Pac-12. And and two, it's a big. This Washington State Boise State thing is starting to get. It's going to get real big, in my opinion. Like, we lost in overtime. We should have beat them at Washington State
Triple
when that
overtime.
happened. Yeah. And
Brett
so
Rippon
I
went
think,
out with a concussion, and Montel Kozart came in.
yeah, and then we threw the pick, and going to Washington State's, I think we threw the pick at about the 12, Washington State's 12-yard line.
The one that did it though was when the punt hit off of Reed Harrison Ducros.
Reed Harris.
They grabbed the ball, and then that was a killer. And I'm not blaming him, but that was a killer point in the game.
No. Well, we went for two on a great play call, and the left guard jumped. Appreciate that, Garrett Larson. That was awesome. But I think you got to go in feeling good about the way you played, right? No penalties, things like that. Just play good, fundamental football, and you'll take care of business this game. And then you're going to feel good after any win, no matter the opponent. And then you got a really, really good Washington State opponent coming to town, ranked. And I think that all depends, because if you come in and you take care of business versus Portland State, you win by 20, I don't think you get in. I think if you win by 40 and somebody stubs a toe, and NIU stubs a toe, or somebody in that bottom half, right, or not the bottom half, the last 5 teams, really. So 20 to 25, they lose. 2 lose. I think they're both in. And I think Boise State deserves to be ranked. It's just you need a couple of these teams to lose, to be honest with you. Is it a big deal if they're ranked? I know for the fans it's a big deal everybody to be ranked. You just got to keep winning. You win, you're going to get ranked, and let that take care of itself. You don't need to be worried about. You're not sitting in your office. God, I hope we're ranked. No, win games, you'll get ranked. Period.
Bronco 130 says, what did you think of the backup center? We've talked about this a little bit, but Zach Holmes, an unknown guy, a walk-on, was at Oregon State for 2 years, comes over to Boise State. Literally in 2 years, he had a shoulder injury when he redshirted at Oregon State the first year. The second year didn't get a single snap either the entire year. Transfers over to Boise State. Last year doesn't play a single snap. He went 3 full college football seasons without getting a single snap in a game, then comes in at the very end of the Georgia Southern game when Mason went down for like 3 or 4 plays, 1 series, I think, there to seal the game. And then he's an Oregon native, goes back to his home state at Oregon, admitted that he dreamed of playing on that field, as a little kid, gets his first career start, again, after not playing in 3 years at Autzen Stadium, and held his own pretty well. Boise State only got sacked 1 time. Madsen had, for the most part, some time to throw. Zach Holmes, a walk-on, we'll see for how much longer, but a walk-on center. He talked to the media yesterday. That interview is up on the BNN YouTube channel. I wrote a story about it as well. You can go read it at BroncoNationNews.com. But I know there's a lot of cool stories over the years and things, but I assume as an O-line coach and kind of hearing this story and seeing this, a pretty cool story. But also as a center, you haven't played in 3 years, your first start at Autzen Stadium. Just let the folks know like how much actually harder it was than he's made it look so far.
Yeah, I mean, how can you not be passionate about college football? I mean, just for this alone, the kid got through some adversity. I mean, it shows the character he has. Comes in, his preparation was unbelievable. For a center to go in and play at a place like Oregon, where your center really needs to be on par, football intelligence-wise, as the quarterback. Protections, safety rotations, the checks, things like that. And not to mention, you're putting the ball in your hand, and every play's got to start with a center. And I think he did an unbelievable job. I think that when you come in that environment, we talked about it last week, where there was that one, wasn't god-awful snap, but other than that, the snaps were there. There was very little false starts. His communication had to be huge, and he got it done. And it shows the character he has and how much he loves football. by sticking with it and having passionate and being prepared to play. And that's so important that he never sat back and said, I'm never playing. I don't even know why I'm studying. Why am I watching this film? I'm never going to play. Well, guess what? You just had your opportunity, and it's a dream fulfilled. And I think that is so cool for young men that get to achieve their dream. And he met a dream. And not only he did it at a high level, in my opinion. So now he comes in, he gets another week of practice, another game plan. So I think he's just going to get better and better and better and just continue to help this offensive line and the run game, the protections, and help them win football games. But if you can't root for kids like that, then you just don't love college football.
And I know that it's kind of a cliche, whatever, but there's no experience like game experience. For him to get that full game at Oregon under his belt now, and then get a bye week, and now have this week of practice. Like, I mean, for him to do what he did there, that's great. But how much better can he be moving forward too? Now that he's got a game under his belt and 2 more weeks, working with the ones at practice.
Oh, a lot, and not to mention, I mean, he's probably a nervous wreck. I mean, I think everybody's nervous for a game, coaches included. But now he could probably settle in faster. That's another important thing. When you got to settle into a game as any player, right? So it's like, I always told Tom Cable when I was playing at Colorado, do not throw the ball on the first play of the game because it's not going to go well because we're amped up, we're ready to go. Let's just stuff it down somebody's mouth or run a play action boot so you can just haul off and tee off on somebody. You kind of got to get that first hit to settle into a football game. And now he'll be able to settle into a game faster, and his communication will even get better. And obviously preparation, he's on top of that, but he can also find little things that's going to help him, which hands down, things like that. And he'll be able to play faster because he'll see things faster. Because game experience means everything, especially if you're getting separate, multiple front defenses. Oregon was a multiple front defense. And so I think that he's going to get better and better.
Yeah, really cool story. And he said that it's been so long since he played that he was getting texts from friends after the game because they're watching Oregon because they're just wanting to watch Oregon, being Oregon fans, his friends from Oregon, and they see him at center and they're like, I didn't even know you were still playing college football. And they're having to wow, man, good for you. Like, we saw you starting over there and was like, whoa, that's Zach Holmes. Like, wow, that's pretty cool. So yeah, cool story. And another one of those guys that, there's been a long list of them, obviously walk-ons that have earned their way and become a starter. And again, it was one game, but obviously a nice start for him. And when you throw, that they're on their left guard is obviously, or I guess right guard too, with Tyler Kyneth taking over with Roger being out. So, I mean, it's still, so far so good, but obviously you're still putting a lot on this line with 2 non-projected starters now looking like they're going to be starting for a good chunk of the season here. And we'll see, moving forward how it works. Probably can't avoid, too many more injuries here with what you got left, but we'll see on that moving forward. One more voicemail. This is from, go ahead.
One other thing, because you touched on it, and I'd like to kind of dive into that. What he did, I mean, do you know what it does to that room for everybody else? He's living the fact of you better be ready. 2 are down. So all you guys that are sitting in the back row behind the starting 5, if that's the way their meeting does it, your asses better be ready because I'm living it. So if you're not ready, you're doing a disservice to this room. I was prepared. I got it done. I expect all you guys to do the exact same things I were doing. So now he's kind of bringing a silent leadership into that room. He's not ready to be a vocal leader. That's not his position right now. But he's going to lead by example. And so all the rest of those guys are like, you better get your asses going. And if I see you ain't studying, you're holding this room to a disservice. So I think he can really lead by example with the guys that maybe don't think they're going to play. Well, guess what? You may play in 4 days. You never know. You just don't know.
They always say the quarterback's, one play away. Well, it's the same way for backup right guard, right tackle, backup, D, whatever. I mean, it's there's more
It's
rotating
anything.
on the defensive side, I guess, at times than offense when it comes to linemen and stuff. But
I
yeah,
agree with that.
you're one play away from getting. All right, last voicemail of the day. This comes from Ben Welch.
Hey, BJ. Ben Welch over here. First of all, I wanted to say I love the show and everything you do for Bronco Nation. I have one question regarding our wide receiver room, and then I'll give my expansion thoughts. So it looks like Camper and Cables have really distanced themselves as the 1 and 2 primary targets. Who do you think is the inside track for that third wide receiver job? I think in order for us to get to our end goals, that third receiver is going to be very important. And then now for my expansion list, I think the clear and obvious, big fish is Memphis. I think with Memphis, you got to pair it with Tulane. I think getting into the Texas market with UTSA makes the clear sense. And then I would love for them to snatch UNLV, especially before the AAC does, if they expand with Air Force. So that's my 4 goals. I do think adding Gonzaga and St. Mary's would make sense. I would love for the basketball brand to be good. UTSA and Tulane also does not bring much from a basketball side. So having those 2 schools would really help. So that's my ideas, and I'd love to hear your response.
All right, sounds like Brad, you're maybe able to hear most of that using the YouTube app there. I did want to kind of transition to the Pac-12 part of this for the last little bit of the show here, but his thoughts on the wide receivers, and I was talking to Rid about it last night. By the way, great show. Matt Navist, a former offensive lineman at Boise State in the early 2000s, was a part of that 01 Fresno game, and 02. He had some great stories last night with Riley and Rid. So go back and check out the Riley and Rid show on YouTube. But I was talking to Rid afterwards, and he's kind of joking about everyone's always talking about separation with the wide receivers. And he's like, well, when they're playing zone coverage, you don't get separation. Like there's different things with coverages, and it's not as easy as just it's one-on-one and you beat him and you have to get separation. That's kind of an easy kind of media fan, thing that's not necessarily always the case based on the schemes. But there has been some talk about and I would say, and I mean, I hate to single out a group, but we talked about this last week, I think, Brad, like given the hype and expectations of the wide receiver group through 2 games, you could say they've been one of the more probably underperforming groups, given their hype and expectation going into the season. So what did you make of, his comment there? And obviously your thoughts on the wide receivers.
Yeah. I mean,
who's going to be third to step up? He wants to know that.
Yeah. I do agree with Rid to a certain extent. When you're playing zone and all that, you got to find the holes, right? It's when you're playing man, it's when you got to separate. Okay, you got to stair step, you got to run meshes, is your vertical passing game? Do you have the speed to win against a corner? Things like that. So separation depends on coverage. Okay, the third guy. So I think Prince is going to have a breakout game. I do. You got some other kid, our kids, his name's escaping me. Bolt. He's played some, hasn't played a lot. And so I think
Chris Marshall as well had a lot of hype and hasn't been
had a lot of hype, right? And so I think that as we go and we're also talking about coverage dictates who the ball's going to go to. You know what I mean? I mean, if you're 3-by-1, right? So 3-by-1, 3 wide receivers to the right, 1 wide receiver to the left. It's just going to depend on coverage. Are they rotating the defense to the 3 wide receiver side, opening up the one-on-one to the boundary? You don't know that. And so, or are they going to play cover 2 where that 3 wide receiver concept is just going to get them? And so you're not going to say, I'm throwing to this guy. So I think that as we go on here and they start trying to take some wide receivers away, that's when you need 2, 3, and 4 to step up, right? So then now formationally, how are we going to take advantage of creating a mismatch for 2 and 3 if they're going to double team 1? For example, you're still 3 wide receivers to the field, 1 wide receiver who's your number 1 guy. If they're going to cheat that boundary safety over to help the corner in zone, that's going to take him away. They're going to double team him. So now you need those 3 wide receivers to step up, which is going to be 2, 3, and 4 if a tight end's not in the game. So then that's where is going to make your heyday right there through your concept. So that's where I think they have to step up. I think Prince is out is due for a game. He's shown he can do it. He just hasn't
Yeah.
gotten the ball a whole lot. And I've always liked Bolt. He's fast, he's tall, he's long. He's had some big catches in the past.
I mean, they're both starters. They're projected starters, and they've
Yeah.
combined for like 3 catches or something in 2 games.
Right, but that you can't just say throw the ball, throw it here, throw here, throw here. It just doesn't work that way. It's conceptual. Where they at on the formation? There's some things that the inside wide receivers got to run a route, and I used to call it when I was at Auburn at the time. You have to ride for the brand. You have to pull the safety out. So if he's going to pull that safety out, that ball's not going to him. It's to pull a player out to open up somebody else. Right. So that's why it's important for people to understand that certain route concepts are riding for the brand. You're going to get this guy open. And if you don't, and you jog through it, you're looking at a pick. So, conceptually, there's some routes are pulling players out, or man, the number 3 is going to hit a stop route. Well, he's going to do that to pick the linebacker. So there's things like that where they're just not going to get the ball. And so it's just conceptually. Now, as you go on, you'll see more guys get catches. And I think our wide receiver, I'm not panicking. I think they're a really good unit. But they have to take advantage of their opportunity. You can't have a bunch of drops. Because, look at the run game's going to get their touches, right? So you have
at some point here, aren't they going to continue to just load the box with what Genty and the running game's doing and make the passing game beat you?
I would agree. They're going to try to make them one-dimensional, but good luck. Because even if you load the box, let's say you're playing man free, okay, and you're in a 2 tight end set, they're going to put 8 in the box, okay, depending on the formation. Okay, you got 7. If you're done a read concept and you're playing with a quarterback too, that's adding a gap. So that's adding an extra offensive guy. So therefore, you're still going to put Genty one-on-one with a safety. And I like those odds. I like those chances. But this is where Boise State has the opportunity to get more explosive, is within the play action game. That's where they're going to start. They got to start making a heyday with a play action game, because everybody's so worried about the run game, rightfully so, that now we should be getting some shots in the passing game through play action.
Yeah.
That can be roll in the pocket and things like that.
I want to see Matt Lauder get a little more involved too. Tight end. I mean, he was supposed to be this explosive play guy, and he's not getting a ton of targets either.
No, but they'll dial him up. We're going into what, game 3?
Boise says that Cutter, and he did say this, Cutter said the wide receivers went 0 for 5 in 50-50 balls against Oregon, but usually make those catches 60% of the time in practice. Wide receivers need to help out Mad Dog a little bit.
So take advantage of their opportunity.
All right. I do want to get your thoughts as we wrap up the show on the Pac-12, but do want to thank a couple more of our sponsors real quick. Lithia Ford of Boise. Check them out. LithiaFordBoise.com. Jim Sturk and company. They got 4 football players driving vehicles from Lithia Ford on NIL deals. So return the favor next time you're looking for a car truck. Check out Lithia Ford of Boise. You can view their full inventory of vehicles online at LithiaFordBoise.com. And that's crazy. The Lithia Ford of Boise rep, Jamie Drake's calling me literally while I'm doing their ad for Lithia, so I apologize for that. That's the crazy timing. Check them out online, LithiaFordBoise.com. Taco Bell, you looking for a good spot to take the family for a meal? Check out Taco Bell, TacoBellWorks.com, the SON Management Group, the Nicolason family. Again, Taco Bell, TacoBellWorks.com, and they're hiring, so if you're looking for a job, they can help you out, or if you're just looking for a good meal, make sure you check out our friends at Taco Bell. Speaking of looking for a job, transcomservice.com can help you get into the trucking industry. All your trucking paperwork and things you need to get out there towing that first load in no time. They're a national company based right here in the Treasure Valley. Big fans. So check them out, transcomservice.com. It is a whiteout apparently on Saturday. Just saw that online. If you're going to the game on Saturday, you're supposed to wear white. So the blueandorange.store.com. Make sure you got your game day gear. White shirt, white sweatshirt, pullover, hat. Make sure you wear white to the game on Saturday, and they can take care of you at the Blue and Orange Store, theblueandorangestore.com. You can order online anywhere in the world, theblueandorangestore.com. If you're in the Treasure Valley, just go to the Blue and Orange Store there on the second floor of the Boise Town Square Mall next to Pro Image. I know you got a lot of options, a lot of places you can buy your gear, But the best selection at the best prices. Make sure you check out the Blue and Orange store. Hopefully, Brad, on Monday, you'll be able to get that coffee or fountain drink for 91 cents if Ahmed Hassanin can get a sack. 91 cent soft drink or coffee if on a Monday following a game day when Ahmed Hassanin gets a sack. And would also like to see Breezy Dubar get back out there. If he can get in the end zone, you get a hot dog and a soda, the Breezy bundle for $1 on Tuesdays after Breezy Dubar gets a touchdown. So he was close. He suited up the last 2 games, didn't play, had the bye week. Maybe this is finally the week we get Breezy Dubar back out there. And again, the Breezy bundle. And speaking of the hot dogs, any hot dog you purchase 24/7, doesn't matter. When you purchase a hot dog from a Treasure Valley Jackson's location, 25 cents goes to the Horseshoe Collective. So make sure you check that out and donate and help out the Horseshoe Collective by going to Jackson's. Tonight, 8 o'clock, Ball Talk, Sanford and Johnny. They will be on tonight, every Wednesday, 8 p.m., talking Boise State football. So they got plenty to say. They took the Slackers took last week off during the bye week, so they still have their Oregon thoughts to give and some other thoughts. So check them out tonight, 8 p.m. Make sure you join them live on the Bronco Nation News YouTube channel. Mike Sanford, John Mallory, Ball Talk, Sanford and Johnny, 8 p.m. tonight, talking Boise State and college football at 8 p.m. on the Bronco Nation News YouTube channel. Okay, Brad, final. Why are you laughing about that?
How's that Survivor pick going?
You wanted to bring that up, really, did you? Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, shit.
One and done.
Hey, Utah, make it 2.
One and done, baby. Cincinnati Bengals, week 1, go out, and our Circa Survivor pool is done in week 1. That was a lot of fun. Fun year.
Circa said, thank you for your donation.
They're already down to this has been the most carnage they've had in 2 weeks of doing the contest ever. They only have over almost like 75%, I think, is already gone in 2 weeks. Because there was another there was major carnage again this week.
Philly.
Yeah, Philly, and then there was even bigger ones earlier. I mean, there was another 4,000 or something that got knocked out this week. So I don't know. I was hoping there'd be a buyback in option or something because so many people got knocked out. But yeah, it's been crazy in the Survivor.
If there's no winner, can we get our money back?
That's what I'm saying. You know, what if, I mean, they say to win, you have to make it through all 20 weeks. What happens if nobody makes it that far? Yeah, restart it.
Oh my God.
Restart it.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's all right. Pac-12. Your thoughts on? I know you obviously played. You know, you're part of. Well, you were Big 12 with Colorado, right?
I was.
Colorado was Big 12, so you don't have the Pac-12 ties. But just your thoughts on? It's not the same Pac-12. I get it, but Boise State making this move and the teams they have, the teams you might think they should add, whichever way you want to take it on the Pac-12.
Right move. And nothing against the Mountain West, but it's the right move. You got an Oregon State and a Washington State team that are the lone survivors in that conference. And so I think the right thing to do is to build West Coast football back. Okay, and I say West Coast. You can't say that anymore. I mean, for crying out loud, we're watching Stanford, they have ACC on their field. But to get that conference where it's going, you need national brands. Boise State's a national brand. I would even tell you this. They are the national brand, in my opinion, in that conference right now. I truly believe with the marketing, the blue, the fan base, for how much Boise State in the past 10 years has played on national television, I think they are the premier brand of that conference right now, nationwide. You had to bring them in. That's number one. Number two, I agree. They had to bring San Diego State because you need the TV market in San Diego, right? There's no question about that. Colorado State, okay, that's how I feel about that one. I'm a Colorado guy. I've never been a big fan of Colorado State. It's just, it doesn't, you get the Rocky Mountains, you get the Denver media, whatever that is. Okay, they got them. I firmly believe UNLV needs to go. And I'm going to go a little bit outside of the box. I'd like to see Nevada go. Because then now you're bringing in two rivals. You're bringing in a UNLV Nevada rival and a Boise State Nevada rival. Fresno State's got to come because that's going to hold that rival. Okay, so now you're going to get California. I would 100% agree with the voicemail. I think you need to get Memphis. And I think you need to get Tulane. I think those two teams are imperative because now you get to take a Boise State team into the South region, and that's going to be important. And imagine if it was right now let's say that we're playing in that conference right now. That means you're taking Genty's talents and the media coverage and all that. Now he's playing in the South. Now you're going to touch a whole other area because remember, when you're playing these 8 o'clock kickoffs, it's 11 back there. So now they're going to be able to play earlier. Get them on national television. Okay, that's going to be important. That's important for the brand. Okay, let's go to the Texas market. I would like to see a Texas State or Utah UTSA. I like where Texas State's going with that football program. I think he's done an unbelievable job taking them to the bowl game. The stadium upgrades they're doing. It's also important for a Texas team to get in for recruiting purposes because you're going to play in California, right? So you're going to play in Fresno. Fresno's a good central location for California parents to get to games. 2 hours from LA, I don't know, 4 hour or an hour, depending on traffic coming down from San Francisco. So you're going to be able to see them play. Now, let's say you bring in two, UTSA and Texas State. That means Boise State's going to go play in the state of Texas probably every year. And that's starting. Genty's a Texas kid. That's going to really help recruiting-wise, and it's going to bring some, in my opinion, Texas State has been talked about the playoff. So I like Texas State to come into that conference. Okay, don't take any other sports. UTSA hasn't done nearly as well as Texas State.
But, I mean, is Texas State kind of a flash year with the coach, and when he leaves, they're going to be whatever? Or do you actually see Texas State as a rising basketball or football team? And also, wouldn't the San Antonio market UTSA long-term prove to be more beneficial than a Texas?
But you got to realize that San Marcos, Texas is 1 hour outside of San Antonio, and it's an hour outside of Austin. It's dead. It's in the middle. It's right off of 35, dead in the middle of those two media markets. Now let's go. Let's take that, what you said about the coach. You have a point there. You absolutely have a point there. You also had the point with UTSA with Traylor. He was one of the hottest names on the market a year ago. He decided not to leave, right? So I think when you're getting into this group of 5 coaches, you're going to battle that. You're going to battle it. You don't have a choice, because if Texas comes calling, they're gone. It's just the way it is.
It's why I don't want St. Mary's for basketball. I agree with Mike Prater on this. I would take Gonzaga on a heartbeat. I think Gonzaga for the basketball side would be a huge addition. I think they're set to succeed even if Mark Few were to leave Gonzaga at some point. But St. Mary's, Randy Bennett has done an amazing job there. But as soon as Randy Bennett leaves, I don't see St. Mary's keeping that going. And so that's why I would love Gonzaga. Don't want St. Mary's. I agree with you on Memphis, but I'm going to be honest. I've said it on the show already, so most of these people have heard me, Brad, but I'm not big on Tulane. I don't know if it's just because you need another central time zone type team, but are you really going to get the whole, New Orleans market fired up about Pac-12 football? Like they've had a couple of good years. They don't bring a lot in other sports. I haven't seen, I guess baseball's been okay, but I don't see much in terms of basketball with Tulane. The football program, as I said, has had a couple of good years. I just don't know if you gain a lot nationally by bringing Tulane into your conference here.
Okay, well, number one, who cares about baseball? We don't even have Boise State.
Well, that's kind of what I'm saying. That's kind of what my point is.
Colorado doesn't have a baseball team in the Pac-12.
They've had a couple good football seasons lately, and I don't know what else they bring. I don't know. When I hear Memphis, I'm like, oh, I like that. I like Memphis. They got Penny Hardaway is coaching the basketball team. They're doing good things there. Football's right there at the top of the group of 5. I like Memphis a lot.
How long has Memphis been in that group of 5 discussion in the past 4 years? The last couple of years. So your same argument on Memphis is the same argument on Tulane. So what's wrong with Tulane?
The other issue here is, and somebody pointed this out. Let's see. This John says, that's it. Voicemail coming. I've had enough of hearing about UTSA drawing fans from San Antonio or Austin. Ridiculous. Yes, please leave us a voicemail, John. We'd love to play it. But I guess, as Wholesome says here, though, like Tulane has to be the best available option Central time zone, massive media market, fantastic football program. I guess part of the problem is we had Brett McMurphy on, a college football insider, the other day. He lives in Tampa. And he said, he kind of laughed when I brought up South Florida. He doesn't see them being a realistic option. Unless the Pac, I guess in a dream scenario, Brad, the ACC implodes if they have this lawsuit with FSU and Clemson. Maybe you convince an SMU to do something. Maybe in Dallas area. Maybe you convince a Cal and Stanford to come back at some point. I think that's probably a 1% chance at this point, so you can't really count that. But I think that would be obviously a dream scenario, probably. But if you take that out and look at what you have, I think UNLV. I don't know if we mentioned UNLV yet. We've talked about that.
I did. I said UNLV, and I would bring in Nevada.
You're not going to get a lot of support on that one, probably, from a lot of people. I don't know if
that's okay. That's why this is America. That's why I get my own opinion.
I maybe if you gave more resources to Nevada, they could get it going there. They obviously have a really strong basketball program right now. Steve Alford is there, but the football team in the past, has had some success, obviously, but right now they're on tough times.
They're up and down.
Yes. Ben says he's want you to reiterate why you want Nevada.
Just because I think Nevada brings a sense of, I'm a little bit of a traditionalist in this regard, is it kind of eats at my soul that we're starting to break up all the rivalries in football.
Yep.
I mean, it takes Colorado played Nebraska every year. It took them to go out of conference, right? I'm a traditionalist in this. I love rivalry games, okay? And I consider, and there's no doubt, that Nevada and Boise is a rivalry. UNLV and Nevada is a rivalry. So
they could still play non-conference.
They can, but it's good. We're going down the line here, or where this thing's going is you're going to have balls of brass to play top teams in your rivals. It's where we're going. It's because everybody's putting so much of the stuff on playoff. Look, you're already seeing, and everybody's talking about the schedule modeling. Jeremiah talked about the schedule modeling. Nevada head coach has talked about the schedule modeling. You want one big boy, you got to get paid, right? You want a group of 5 team, okay? And then you want an FCS team. If at a conference right now, do you think Nevada is in a place to schedule UNLV if they weren't in conference together? Why would you do that?
Wouldn't make much
Probably
sense.
not. No. And why? If you're Boise State, why would you schedule, let's say, Fresno if they're at a conference? Okay, and they're taking a Fresno team with an interim head coach, so that's going to get blown up. We'll see if he gets the job.
Mm-hmm.
But they're in flux too.
Yeah.
Right. I don't think you can make conference decisions by the sitting head football coach.
Sure.
I don't think you can. I don't think that's an argument you can stand on, because you're going to have 22 head coaches, 22 to 25 new head coaches in college football every year, from the top to the bottom.
But you do have
rolls downhill.
I think that part of this has to be projecting the next 5, 10, 15 years, not just lightning in a bottle right now with these programs in terms of what's, a program's having great success right now. That's why I would take UNLV. UNLV,
nobody's going off of success.
Yeah.
So you're telling me Cal and Stanford are in the ACC because they're so successful?
No, they have a brand and they have,
they have a TV market.
Yeah.
They don't. Nobody cares about success.
Would you be fired up though to watch UTSA come to the blue? Really?
I'm sorry. Say that again. I cut you off.
Would you be fired up to have UTSA come to the blue? Like, would that be a big game on the blue?
No, I would agree there. But a Texas State would be right now.
This year, yes. Right now, yes.
What about last year? They're a solid football program.
Benjamin said successful at bringing in money. Skylar said money. Bronco 130 says the brand is mediocrity. Let's see. Coaches leave.
Hey, Bronco 130. Whose brand?
Maybe when I mentioned the brand, maybe of Cal and Stanford.
Yeah, they have a good brand because of academics.
Ben says, good point. I hate Nevada more than any other team. But then Nicholas says, screw Nevada. They bring absolutely nothing. I don't care about the rivalry.
Okay, well, the guy who just said that is the same individual that's complaining because the Pac-12 wouldn't bring Boise State because it's not a Research One institution. Boise State's been on the outside looking in for the past decade.
Yep.
Now they're in.
And they're actually getting very close to getting the Research One thing. They're actually
And I
close
think
to
that, and you have to give a lot of credit to the administration. Boise State education is getting better. It's good.
This is what I would if I had to, as we kind of wrap this up, Brad. I would probably if I was putting down my money in Vegas on what's going to end up happening. Memphis, Tulane, UNLV is what Wholesome says. Memphis, Tulane, UNLV get to 9-team conference, 8 conference games. Everybody plays everybody, and then you also have a very strong basketball conference. I would still go add Gonzaga, get a 10th team in basketball. If you can get Gonzaga, then you play everybody round robin, 18 conference games. All is great. I don't think you're going to get to. I don't think you're ever going to get to a point, Brad, under the current situation where you're going to get back an automatic, Power 5 type status. But I certainly think you can build it to where you're the top of the next group. Where if they're going to keep it where there's some, if there's 4 Power 5s and they're going to give 5, get conference champions a spot, essentially whatever you want to call it, a guaranteed spot to at least one group of 5 team. I think this conference would essentially be in the spot where it would be, the dominant team where every year your conference champion's probably getting in.
I would agree 100%. I think your conference champion in this conference, the way we think it's going to get set up, is gets the G5 bid, right? But I would also say this: let's have the conference play a couple years. Now all of a sudden, if the conference is extremely competitive, they're beating people out of conference in the ACC, in the Big 10, the Big 12, SEC, a Cal, for example, who beat Auburn. Then I think, okay, now wait a minute, we got to step back here as in the playoff and go, I think this conference needs an automatic bid. So now you go to the automatic bid, and then you just shuffle from there, because where we're going to go to 14 teams in 5 years. Who knows? But I think let the conference play out a little bit once it's settled. And if they're starting to really play really good football, how do you not give them an automatic bid? I think that's yet to be determined. But I would agree. I think Memphis has to be the one who they should be going after right now is Memphis.
By the way,
I would agree.
Did you enjoy the Cal win over Auburn?
I did. It's a good win for Wilcox. Feel bad for the boys, but at Auburn, the tight ends, but it showed Cal, and here's another one. Everybody wanted to fire Wilcox. He goes in to beat Auburn.
Yep.
In Cal and Stanford kind of need to get off their high horse a little bit about academics and come back to the West and play football.
That'd be nice.
USC and UCLA. This is my problem. It's not about success. UCLA does not deserve to be in the Big Ten. I don't give a shit.
I've heard, I know it's crazy, but I have heard very small people say UCLA should come back and be part of this league. It would probably never happen because of the USC thing or whatever, and the money that the Big Ten's going to throw at them. But UCLA would actually make some sense.
UCLA would make a lot of sense, but it's the money. I mean, I think those schools are guaranteed 35, 40 million.
Yeah, and this one will probably be in the 10 to 15 range, something like that.
You can't take that hit as an institution, and it's going to be everything's driven off of money in the television contract. Yep. That's the other thing is you need strong teams or bigger market teams, UTSA, wherever what you saw or what you say, it's a mom and pop or some public or smaller business.
Mm-hmm.
If they get the money buying those, because Goodyear and Gillette and all that, that's a major corporate, that's a nationwide commercial.
And Memphis has FedEx there in Memphis.
Exactly. And that's where I think those pay off, where a Texas State can touch into the San Antonio market and touch into the Austin market, where now you're going to get smaller businesses that aren't nationwide advertising. They're paying for advertising locally. And that's where a lot of money is generated. A lot of money is generated through those ads. Not the FedEx and all those. Those are big corporations. They're going to pay whatever they got to pay. It's when you get the smaller markets and those businesses paying in, just raises the revenue. And it's all, let's not get this, it's all about revenue.
Yep. No doubt. And it sounds like this is all moving fairly quickly. There's a meeting planned this week, maybe today, maybe it was yesterday, but they said midweek with the 6 schools in the Pac-12 in the new Pac-12 kind of deciding the next plan. There's reports that they are targeting Memphis and Tulane as possible additions. We'll see what happens with UNLV, but it sounds like this is moving fairly quickly here.
But it is good. It has to move quickly because they got to get it done because buyouts got to be negotiated.
And they got to start going to the TV networks and starting to negotiate all this.
And you got to rebrand it and all that. The other thing is where why it's important and the money going to the schools is important is we are now officially in the world of revenue sharing. Look at what Tennessee just did. They added 10%, 10% to all their ticket prices for the athletic fee or the talent fee. Look at where we're going. That's why the money going into the schools is so important. And after you've paid all your bills and all that, let's see what you got.
Yeah, I saw somebody say if you just added $5 to every Boise State football ticket for the NIL game, that'd be $900,000 at the end of the season you could use to pay some players.
Well, not only pay players, it's the Tennessee's doing it for the revenue sharing because that's going to the institution. So now the institution's going to drop it off to the players.
Yep.
Union's coming.
Union's
coming.
Well, we saw Georgia too. Yesterday, their governor signed an executive law now saying that the schools can, Georgia schools can directly pay the players for NIL purposes. So there's, that's an advantage they have. So yeah, it's not stopping here anytime soon. But Brad, appreciate your time, man. I just looked up and we're over an hour, so I apologize for taking your time. It goes pretty quick when we're chatting with you. 5 o'clock on Saturday, you can come hang out and see Brad and Kent Riddle, 5 to 5:30. They'll be out there on Saturday on the pregame show. We'll be out at the James Kitchen and Bar on the patio. So if you're tailgating or you're coming down, come stop by 5 o'clock at the James, hang out, have a horseshoe golden ale, have an orange chaos seltzer. Then you can walk over to the little Jackson's, tailgate they're going to have there on the corner, all kinds of free stuff they're passing out at Jackson's. It'll be a fun kind of corner right there by the stadium to hang out before the game. And then obviously you can go over and tailgate and do all that good stuff. So 5 o'clock for the pregame show. And then, probably 10, 15 minutes. We're going to try to get it going fairly quickly after the game ends. Brad and Kent Riddle will, have the postgame show. And that's going to be can't miss stuff with Brad and Kent. So make sure after the game you tune back to the Bronco Nation News postgame show. And then I'll jump on with my interviews with Spencer Danielson and some of the players after that as well. So going to be fun. So like I said, Brad, last FBS team in all of college football to get a home game. And you are actually going to this game.
I am going to go to the game.
When was the last time you went to a game? Have you ever sat in the stands for a Boise State game? When was the last time you've been to a game?
Last time I coached in a game. It's,
you have participated in some of the tailgates and things, but you have never had tickets or for whatever reason, just never been into the stadium for a game, and people can read into it what they want, but you are now going to a game on the blue. Are you excited to be in the stands for the game?
I am. I get to be a college football fan. It's, it's a lot nicer when you're not stressed out about it.
Oh yeah.
But I'm excited. I'm excited to support this staff. I'm excited to, kind of get back and, not be a part of it, but it's same thing. It's time for me to be a part of this community and rally behind your home team a little bit, but also be critical when critical is needed.
Yeah, well, you're going to see Tim Keene over there meeting with his group after every series, getting into them. Oh, that one pressure they allowed, whatever. And you're just going to take another sip of that horseshoe golden ale and go, I'm doing just fine over here on the side.
I'm good. He needs to be talking about that left guard.
No, it's going to be it'll actually be a cool perspective on the post-game show to have you be in the stadium, be able to kind of give your perspective on that. So that's really cool. I'm glad you're going. It's going to be fun. We'll see you at 5 o'clock for the pregame show at the James. We'll see you on the post-game show. Going to be a fun Saturday again. Saturday on the Blue, always special, and looking forward to that. Don't forget tonight, 8 o'clock, it'll be Sanford and Johnny. So Sanford and Johnny tonight at 8 o'clock. Don't miss that. Bring your questions, bring your thoughts for Ball Talk. And then Johnny will join me tomorrow morning. Jay Tuss will join me Friday morning. We got all kinds of programming going on. We got the Tyson Degenhart show coming up tomorrow night as well at 8 o'clock. So a lot going on, and appreciate your time, Brad. And we'll see you for the pregame show Saturday.
Absolutely. Can't wait.
There he is, Brad Bedell, former Boise State offensive line coach. Great stuff. And if you missed any part of the show, you can go back and watch it. Make sure you hit that like button, that subscribe button here on the YouTube channel if you found us. We got almost 200 of you on YouTube watching, and we don't have 200 likes yet. So hit that like button before you get out of here. We appreciate it. And we'll see you at 8 o'clock tonight for Ball Talk with Sanford and Johnny. Go read my story on Zach Holmes at BroncoNationNews.com. Mike Prater has a column coming as well. We'll talk to you guys later. Bronco Nation News Live from the Western Collective Studios. Our title sponsor is RowPaint.com. This is Bronco Nation.